Hi, welcome to my biography as a beginning teacher. I'm Jessamine Douglas, and I'm going to be talking about my journey to becoming a teacher. In this section, I'll be talking about my personal and professional knowledge, mainly my journey to what it means to become a good teacher and my reasons for wanting to be a teacher. Now, I struggled in school. I learnt differently to others in my class, and my teachers failed to provide differentiation for me. I now believe, through my work with students, that I suffered from dyslexia and a lack of consistency in my early years at primary school. Not enforcing the basics have impacted on my further learning. I would find myself working out the problems different to the teacher, and then teaching them to the other class members. This was because they didn't quite understand the right way of doing it. From that moment, I had made a choice that I wanted to become a teacher, to help kids like me. I didn't want anyone else feeling the way I did through school. I was dumb and I couldn't understand how to do it the right way. Throughout this period of my young life, I was also a member of the Girl Guides community. I found myself dabbling in many different hobbies and topics, my confidence becoming stronger and my leadership skills growing. I became a person many would name jack of all trades. My skill sets didn't suit one job or one subject. I tied these together and decided teaching was for me. It was the most effective way I could pass on my knowledge and skills. I guess my main philosophy to why I want to be a teacher is to give the students every opportunity to be the best they can. Throughout the journey in becoming a teacher, many key events and insights occur to help you find your journey way. Many teachers throughout my schooling life spotted my interest in becoming a teacher. They started to give me insights, ideas, and advice. Family and friends offered encouragement and support. Many of my insights to teaching were founded through my involvement with the Girl Guide community. The leadership roles, planning and organising. Every program we ran Friday nightly was a version of a lesson plan. Every girl we had each Friday night became mini versions of behaviour management and building successful learning relationships. Through this, I learnt what I enjoyed in life. I was a giver. I also learnt what kind of teacher I would like to be. I always envisioned myself as a cool teacher, and who doesn't? But when I really think about it, I'm that teacher that goes above and beyond. I'm that teacher whom you can have fun with, but when the going gets tough, we get work done. I'm the teacher who can crack a smile and be fun, but is also strong and fierce when things go wrong. I'm the teacher who you can see at any time and offered help and kindness. The teacher that keeps on surprising you. I want to never stop hearing, "Miss, I didn't know you could do that." I want to be the teacher that the kids look back to high school and say, "She helped me become who I am." I want to be the teacher that challenges students mentally and physically. I'm the teacher that teaches not only with knowledge but with heart. The teacher who has strict rules and policies. But I am the teacher who is also flexible and good at on-the-spot, spur-of-the-moment teaching moments. I encourage all types of learners and students to bring your skills into the classroom. Let's share them, learn how it can benefit us all. And most importantly, I want to be that teacher that never stops learning. Through our journey in becoming a teacher, it is a requirement and a need to study these theoretical practices. These give us insight to the meaning of educational concepts in a personal level, but also as a standard. Today, I'll talk about the theories and practices that really help me understand what it means to be a good teacher. These theories and practices form around Gardner's theory of multiple intelligences, the gradual release of responsibility model, habits of mind, Bloom's taxonomy, and productive The first overarching theory that really helps me understand being a teacher is Gardner's theory of multiple intelligences. The theory focuses on the idea that we are all different and function differently. Each individual possesses 7 distinct measurable forms of intelligence: linguistics, logical mathematical, spatial, body kinesthetic, musical, interpersonal, and interpersonal. As a teacher, it is important to realize that all students are different and learn differently. Being a part of a system means, yes, I have to teach what is needed and required, but I believe in being a teacher, it isn't just classroom-based, but there is an element there to encourage students to use their intelligence and skills in extracurricular and hobbies, offering every opportunity for them to excel in something they enjoy. When I'm doing lesson plans and teaching, I find myself using the gradual release responsibility model and the habits of mind model. I believe these two models come hand in hand. They work well together and help to create students' learnings beyond the classroom into their future lives. The gradual release model is a broadly recognized successful approach for moving classroom instruction from teacher-centered to whole group delivery to student-centered collaboration and independent practice. It is often referred to I do, we do, you do. This model proposes a plan of instruction that includes demonstrations, prompts, and practice. Now, what I understand with this is it can be an individual lesson by lesson approach, but it can also be a whole school approach. By helping the students from grade 7 to grade 12 in gradually releasing responsibility, not only in their learning but in their behavior also. It helps with self-regulated learning. Students would find themselves watching the teacher demonstrate and then working towards group collaboration and then finally coming to see It's said by Art Costa that when teachers deliberately adopt an assess habit of mind, it changes the design of their activities, determines their selection of content, and enlarges their assessment. The bigger circle in which the outcomes live, the more influences they exert on the values of each habit. Now there's 16 habits that Costa wrote about. These habits, yes, help in school and learning, but they also flow on to life in jobs, in society. These are quite important for students to learn. They need to be persistent. They need to manage their impulsivity. They need to learn to listen to others and understand with empathy. Students need to be able to think flexibly and think about their thinking. This is called metacognition. It is an important skill that we need to learn as students to take into our adult lives. We all need to learn to strive for accuracy and precision and question posing problems. This then leads into problem solving, which is an important fact in our society that we all need to be able to tackle. Applying past knowledge to new situations can help build on what we already know. Intelligent people learn from experiences. And what do they already know? They know a lot, and we need to be able to pull this out of them and get them to use it. Students need to be able to think and communicate with clarity and precision, getting to the point, being succinct. This is key elements of their assessments, but they are struggling to do so. Using the habits of mind, we can help them be better at their assessment and better in society. By using all senses, we can gather data. This is another important skill students need to have. They need to be able to recognize what sense they're using to gather this data. They need to be able to create, imagine, and be innovative. These are important habits that are designed to help us in our jobs in the future. Being inquisitive and curious about what's going on around them is one of the habits of minds. They need to be able to understand that they can be an effective thinker and problem solve with this. Why are they curious? Why is this interesting to them? They also need to take responsibility in risks. The only way to succeed is to be brave enough to risk a failure. The other habits of mind that are needed is being able to find humour. It is a healthy mind who can find humour in certain aspects of life. You need to be able to think independently and learn continuously. As teachers, we never stop learning, and some people believe once they leave school, learning is finished, but this is not the case. We learn until the day we die. As teachers, it is our job, yes, to educate the children ready for their future, but it's really hard when we don't know what the future holds for them. So by giving them these skills of habits of mind and gradually releasing responsibility, it can help them in their future life. The Department of Education and Training is committed to ensuring Queenslanders have education and the skills they need to contribute to the economic and social development of Queensland. By using the models and strategies to develop student skills not only as a learner, but as a socially adaptive person in our society, to understand the norms and social etiquettes, morals and ethics needed to be successful in our society. Sometimes these are known as hidden curriculum. Hidden curriculum refers to the unwritten, unofficial, and often unintended lessons, values, and perspectives that students learn in school. While the formal curriculum consists of the courses, the lessons, and learning activities students participate in, as well as the knowledge and skills educators intentionally teach students, the hidden curriculum consists of the unspoken, implicit, academic, social, and cultural messages that are communicated to students while they're in school. The hidden curriculum concept is based on the recognition that students absorb lessons in school that may or may not be a part of the formal course of study. For example, how should they interact with peers, teachers, and other adults? How should they perceive different races, groups, or classes of people? What ideas and behaviours are considered acceptable or unacceptable? The hidden curriculum is described as a hidden thing because it is usually unacknowledged or unexamined by students, educators, and the wider community. It becomes the values and lessons reinforced by the hidden curriculum are often accepted as a status quo. It may be assumed that these hidden practices and messages don't need to change, even if they are contributing to an undesirable behaviour and results, whether it's bullying, conflict, or low graduation and college enrolment rates, for example. Bloom's taxonomy has been one from the get-go with our learning through university and teaching. It is a hierarchy of classification of learning behaviours. It adapts the following: remember, understand, apply, analyse, evaluate, and synthesize. My personal meaning developed around Bloom's taxonomy demonstrates the steps in which learning should take place. It will take place on a small individual lesson by lesson, but also build across the years of learning. These are the skills student needs to take into life. This taxonomy fits in perfectly with the gradual release of responsibility model. By going through these steps with the students, remembering, understanding a topic, applying what they have learnt to the topic, analysing, evaluating and sympathising, they have then reached the grade 12 standard. Lastly, Productive Pedagogies Framework. This is a framework adapted by Queensland to help improve their teachers' skills in the classroom. It was developed from a longitude of research across Australia on teachers in areas they need to improve. These are organised under 4 dimensions: intellectual quality, recognition of difference, connectedness, and a supportive classroom environment. These are factors that teachers needed to improve on. Recognising intellectual quality, to me, links back to Gardner's theory of multiple intelligences. I believe that, yes, it needs to be happening in the classroom, but it also needs to be adapted into extracurricular activities and encouragement across the board. Recognition of difference, to me, relates to differentiation. Every kid is different. Every kid has those multiple intelligences. You need to support them. You need to find their passion and teach them, yes, what is required, but go above and beyond to find their calling. Connectedness is key for kids. Without this, students don't understand how this relates to them. And if they can't understand how it relates, they're not going to remember it. Connecting what they're learning to them and their lives is essential. Providing a supportive classroom environment ties back into that going above and beyond theory. Giving them that support within the classroom, but also outside the classroom, will help that student become more and more successful. think when it comes to understanding what an effective teacher is, you need to be able to be out there and observe teachers in action. You need to be able to learn yourself what works and what doesn't work. Some of the things that I've come up with around being an effective teacher is being able to develop skills not only on yourself but for the students. Knowing how to teach, but not just the content. Being able to pick up another subject overnight and be able to teach it the next day. Knowing and being able to build effective relationships. Realizing all students are different and what works one day probably won't work the next. Developing your own teacher pedagogy. This is essential. Using a range of pedagogies within your personal pedagogy is really effective. Encouraging students' responsibility and self-regulated behavior in learning is an effective way to teach. Monitoring and progress and providing feedback to students, safe environment and supportive learning center is essential. Building positive relationships and giving positive reinforcements and providing explicit instruction. These are some of the things I believe make an effective teacher. But throughout my journey in becoming a teacher, there is many things I have learned in what it means to be an effective teacher. As a beginning teacher, it is a requirement to meet the standards of teaching. These standards, although they're compulsory, offer effective guidelines and links to knowledge of what an effective teacher should reflect. By learning through observations, these standards within action, but also striving to achieve these standards myself, I have discovered what an effective teacher, in the eyes of others, should be. Knowing your students and how they learn is a very difficult thing to do, but once you nail it, those kids are learning from you. They are successfully understanding. You need to analyze these kids. You need to understand how they're learning by providing different learning styles and figuring out what works best. Standard 2 comes around knowing the content and how to teach it. This means being able to answer a question about your subject on the whim. You shouldn't have to go research it. It should be there ready to go. Not saying that it's a bad thing if you don't know an answer to the question. We are all constantly learning, and that is what an effective teacher does. Never stops learning. This one speaks for itself. Standard 3, plan for and implement effective teaching and learning. Now, we've understood the students. We've learnt how they learn. We then need to create a plan that implements teaching and learning that is going to be successful for them. By building those relationships and understanding those kids, by then allowing for effective teaching and learning, we are also linking in a safe and supportive learning environment. This includes building relationships. This includes knowing more about the students and knowing some days they're going to have a bad day and being able to adapt around that. Standard 5 is around assessing, providing feedback and reporting on student learning. This is a part of our job. It is also essential to be able to track students and where they're going. You need to be able to interpret the data and provide effective feedback to them so they can then learn from it and make a better choice next time. As I keep saying, a teacher never stops learning. An effective teacher will engage in professional learning. This is PD. This is sessions with other teachers. This is run by professionals. But this is also communication with your colleagues about a situation or about a topic, gaining reflection and advice. There's a flow-on effect with these standards. They all come hand in hand. And Standard 7 is engaging professionally with colleagues, parents and caregivers within the community. Now, you need to meet specific standards and ethics. There is a duty of care. You need to be able to communicate with parents and caregivers. You need to be able to organise and communicate with the community to help your students go that little bit further with their hobbies and with their calling. You need to be able to engage professionally, and this is a very difficult thing to do sometimes with all the different personalities you find within a school. But it is a skill you will learn over time. Although the standards and skills required for an effective teacher, being an effective teacher means a different thing to the students. A quote from Moji in 1996, "I teach students, not subjects," is very well known. Students learn teachers, and they don't often learn the subjects. You often find when getting adults talking about and recalling information from school, they recall the teacher themselves and how they told the story. I believe an effective teacher is someone who leaves a lasting imprint on a student, a person who one day will think, "I'm here because that teacher helped me become me." In this section, I need to talk about connecting the knowledge and experiences I have gained throughout my education program and extend the power of both. To me, this means the experiences and journey. Throughout my learning journey of becoming a teacher, there are many theories and pedagogical practices analysed and tested through experimenting and practicums. Discussed above have been the most influential theories and practices upon my learning and experiences. It is only through teaching that we can learn the success of the knowledge thrust upon us by our education programs. It is up to us to develop as a teacher and evaluate the effectiveness of which theories and practices work best for us. For myself, as a dual visual arts and science subject teacher, my switch between the types of teaching can often be strict and rigid. But when thinking about a holistic approach, both science and art can both include my personal pedagogy and understanding of theories. I look forward to my first few years of teaching to expand the power of knowledge and experiences I currently have, and analyse and evaluate which are more effective. In turn, this will further develop my personal pedagogy and teaching knowledge and skills. A part of my journey to becoming a teacher, many strengths and weaknesses have been found. Across the board, there are certain elements that a teacher needs to have, and we've discussed them above with what an effective teacher is. I believe I meet a lot of those elements, but it's going to be hard to list every single one. I believe I have skills across the board. I have years of experience working with children and building their personality, skills and experiences. I have a holistic approach to everything I do. I've been volunteering with Girl Guides for 6 years as a leader, and I've been in as a member for 15 plus years. I always maintain a good attitude. I'm able to question effectively. I'm flexible, and I have great time management. The list could go on, but I believe I bring all the necessary strengths a teacher needs, plus more, which in turn, I hope to be a great teacher for the students I teach. As a beginning teacher, there are many areas which need improvement. I find myself often winging it and not writing my thoughts down into lesson plans. It isn't necessarily a bad thing, it helps with effective time management, but it doesn't document my process effectively for other people to follow. I think another weakness that I may face will be being too emotional when faced with conflict with parents and caregivers. This is a hard topic for teachers, and many leave the profession due to this conflict. Across Queensland, the productive pedagogies focus on the most common weaknesses found in a classroom teacher. I believe I meet some of these and I work well with them, but there's always room for improvement with them. It's hard to expand on my possible weaknesses as a teacher, but I can analyse what I may struggle with when it comes to my first years of teaching. By looking at my current personality and teaching pedagogy, I can analyse some possible weaknesses or areas of improvement that will rear their ugly heads in years to come. Sometimes I find myself speed thinking and not allowing moments of pause for others to catch up. This is a skill I need to develop further. I need to focus on the learning pause. I think another issue that may arise in time is that I've been given to achieve certain goals. I feel the need and passion to put as many opportunities as I can for students. This is one of my core beliefs as a teacher, but I can see it becoming an issue with how strictly and time poor the curriculum leaves a semester of learning. Culling ideas and processes and becoming effective in encouraging students to join in lunchtime learning and extracurricular activities will be my saving grace. In this section, I need to discuss how I've demonstrated my growing self-awareness and learning and teaching in relationship to others, discussing my ability to read the world from multiple viewpoints and think carefully how to apply my knowledge to the educational practice. I believe my self-awareness has always been high. It has become a skill I developed from years of self-reflection and feedback associated with being a Girl Guide and the programs we take part in. This has helped exceptionally when growing as a teacher. Certain aspects I have been able to identify being my strengths and weaknesses, areas I need to improve, and how others learn from me, whether it's positive or negative. Working around other students, it has been a key element of myself, helping them in their learning, as the concepts and theories are already cemented in my learning pathway. I am able to further enforce them by teaching them to others. As my journey to be a teacher discusses, the way I am wired as a person, I view things differently. I learn differently, but can now through practice and teachings, view the world in multiple viewpoints. I'm able to put myself in many different shoes and view and understand the world from that perspective. This is coming from my learning as a student learner, but also through skills developed as an artist, being able to express or understand someone's expression through visual literacy. For many years, I thought hard whether to become a teacher or not, but when thinking about my skills and being a jack of all trades, being able to think and teach and lead the way I do, it was the best career choice for me. I know I see myself in the teaching role through pracs and current leaderships at guides. I'm able to differentiate, support and supply effective learning techniques and types. I can step back and think about students' processes and how I can further help them. I can adapt my skills and teach anything that is required. I'm able to approach and teach with a holistic idea in mind. I can quickly learn to know my students and how they learn. I can use my skills to learn content effectively and quickly to be able to teach it to them. I believe that this is a level of self-awareness and ability to analyze the world in multiple viewpoints, with also aiding in giving students effective feedback and consistency in judgment. Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed following my journey to becoming a teacher, and I look forward to teaching next year. I will love growing as a person and helping these students achieve more than they think they can. So thank you and have a great day.